Viewers, so we built the starter motor on my VS Commodore. Only to find the brushes are actually spot welded in. The old starter motors, you had like a lug on the back with the brushes. There's a lug on here. You could screw them onto the brush holder and do them that way with a crimp, like a screw that connects to it. But these ones, these are actually spot welded, and this a little bit too big. I would have had to file these down to get them to fit in the brush holders there. So the existing ones are about probably 20%. So I just stretched the springs a bit and cleaned up the commutator, polished it and lubricated it and cleaned it all out and put it back together. It starts like new again. But I said, well, bugger, the brushes are a bit on their way out and these wouldn't bloody fit. So I just got a good second-hand one here. It's the Bosch permanent magnet starter motor. Uses about 144 amps, 1.4 kilowatts, 12 volts, about 144 amps. Only one advantage of permanent magnet starter motors is they use bugger all power on your battery compared to the older ones. But the older ones were really well built because they were built to be serviceable. These newer ones not so much. But this is a Taiwanese made one, so, and it is a Bosch. The ones you buy now locally, you buy the other OEX. OEX are all cheap Chinese shit, so yeah. I don't like figuring they don't last a cheap Chinese starter motors. You're better off with a figuring you're better off with a pull start and the decompression levers on your engine. More reliable. But Bosch don't really make electrics for cars anymore. Mitsubishi's making out motors and starter motors now for new cars. Yeah, because this is permanent magnet, you don't go striking it with a hammer. That's what people don't realise. The old ones you could because they were series wound, but these ones you don't. I did bench test the other starter motor after I repaired it, but this little device can't run it unloaded. It just doesn't do it. So let's give it a try with this one as a comparison. Okay, let's connect the solenoid. Yeah, well, it says 144 amps. That's when it's fully loaded, cranking a cold engine. Let's see if 20 amps, if I click the solenoid. Yes. No, overcome it. Won't even turn the motor over. Won't even turn the motor over. No. Well, there we go. I would have thought it would have run a permanent magnet starter motor unloaded with that level of current, but no. Okay, there isn't much of a difference at all then. But these do crank faster, these permanent magnet ones. Generally they use less power on your battery. Let that top the charge up again. Makes a good battery charger, that. Anyway, I'm going to keep it as a spare because the one of my I've repaired in the car it's better now, so I'll keep this as a spare. I'm not sure I'm going to store it, but in here next to me spare compressor. There we go. Speaking of compressors and stuff like that, I got a window air conditioner from work that I was throwing it out. It's American made air temp. Got a Tecumseh reciprocating compressor in there. These compressors are used in commercial fridges. Nowadays I just use cheap Chinese shit. I know Gree and Midea are the two only companies to make these now in China. So the Kelvinator ones are just made by Gree, which Gree's a pretty rubbish manufacturer. I washed it all out, drenched it and quite washed it, was full of dirt, but it works quite well. It's a reverse cycle. Used about 8.8 running amps on that compressor, so American made Tecumseh too. There's still being made these compressors, but they're French made now, made in France. They have a separate starting block inside a box with the capacitors in it and everything. All copper, no aluminium. The new air conditioners and fridges are now all aluminium, no copper in them. I picked up this fridge on the side of the road. It's a Slovakian made Gorenje Pacific. The compressor's made by Gorenje in Yugoslavia, which no longer exists. It's Croatia now. Nice little compressor down there. It does work alright, there's nothing wrong with it, but I might yeah, it's just a cold plate. Might have to gut this cabinet and keep the line work intact and get the cold plate out and make a universal thing with it, where you can put the cold plate in an esky and turn an esky into a fridge. Might be a good idea. I've got this to repair. The brushes need to be replaced. It does work good, but the brushes are on their way out. It's a all made in Australia. Even the universal motor in there is made in Australia. I got a feeling, I'm not 100% sure, but the brushes these Makita Jaws use might be the same size and fit. So I'm yet to confirm that. But if they are, I can just buy Makita Jaw brushes for this. Because I've looked everywhere online, I couldn't find brushes for this from Ray-Ban. This is a cast iron one. It'll be a late 50s one, this one. It's good. There was a time they made things in Australia, see, so it's definitely well worth repairing. Because I think the new ones are now Chinese rubbish. This charger's still going good after I modded it with a fan. Anyway, yeah, getting that battery a good recharge. Anyway, thanks for watching.